हेलो एवरीवन एंड वेलकम बैक टू नॉलेज नेस्ट। आज हम लोग एनसीईआरटी का पहला चैप्टर पढ़ेंगे विच इज क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन एंड मैनेजमेंट। सबसे पहले लेट अस नो व्हाट आर क्रॉप्स। When plants of same kind are cultivated at a field on a large scale for food, fiber, fodder or any other useful product, it is called a crop. Crops are basically plants grown on a large scale. Now let us know about the classification of crops. Cereals, which are wheat, barley, rye, rice, maize, etc. Pulses, which are beans and grams, oilseeds, sunflower, mustard, groundnut, root crops, sweet potato, tuber crops, tapioca, potato, sugar crops, beetroot, sugarcane, cash crops, tea, coffee, coconut and rubber, fiber crops, cotton and jute. Let us know about the other classification of crops. खरीफ crops. खरीफ crops वो crops होते हैं जो monsoon season में उगाए जाते हैं because they require a lot of water. For example, paddy, cotton and maize. Rabi crops. These crops are grown during the winter season as they require less water. For example, wheat, gram and linseed. Cash crops. Cash crops are grown for the purpose of sale and profit. For example, tea, cotton, coconut, etc. Subsistence crop. These crops are grown by farmers to fulfill the needs of his family. Now let us know about the agricultural practices. एग्रीकल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस वो प्रैक्टिसेस होते हैं जो फार्मर्स एक क्रॉप ग्रो करने के लिए फॉलो करते हैं. Preparation of soil. Preparation of soil before cultivation of any kind of crop is very important. Sowing. Sowing is the most essential process in growing any type of crop. Farmer has to ensure that the seeds are of good quality before sowing. Manure and fertilizers. The addition of manure and fertilizers improve the crop yield. Irrigation. Since seeds do not germinate in the absence of water, farmer needs to regularly irrigate his field. Removal of weeds. Weed deprives crops of their nutrition. Therefore, removal of weeds is a very essential process. Harvesting, threshing and winnowing. Once the crops are fully grown, they are harvested, threshed and winnowed. Last but not the least, storage. When the crops are fully prepared for sale, they are stored in different places such as godowns, silos, etc. अब हम लोग एग्रीकल्चरल प्रैक्टिसेस का पहला प्रैक्टिस जान लेते हैं which is preparation of soil. Plowing. Plowing is the process of loosening and turning soil using a tool called a plow, which is made up of iron or wood. Plows are either pulled by a cattle or tractor. Benefits of plowing. Plowing allows the roots to penetrate deep into the soil. It provides aeration to the soil and ensures proper drainage of water. Plowing helps in uniform mixing of fertilizers as well as organic matter with loose soil. It also uproots the weeds present in soil. Leveling. Before sowing the seeds, farmer needs to level their soil by breaking or crushing the crumbs of soil. This is done using a leveler and this process is called leveling. Let us know about sowing of seeds. While sowing, we should be careful that seedlings should get enough space to grow. If they do not get enough space, they would compete for nutrients, water and sunlight. Another factor which needs to be taken care of is seeds should be grown at the right depth, because if they are sown too deep, they may be deprived of air, and if they are too close to the surface, they may be eaten by birds. Now let us know about the process of selection of seeds. Through an activity, we shall understand how to separate healthy seeds from unhealthy ones. We will take a bowl filled with water and put some kidney beans in it. We shall let remain the bowl undisturbed for an hour. After half an hour, we'll observe that some of the seeds float in water, whereas some of them sink in water. ये इसीलिए होता है क्योंकि जो खराब सीड्स होते हैं वो अंदर से हॉलो हो चुके होते हैं और वो लाइट होते हैं और इसीलिए वो फ्लोट करने लग जाते हैं, जबकि जो हेल्दी सीड्स होते हैं वो नीचे सिंक कर जाते हैं. Methods of sowing. There are two methods by which farmer can sow their seeds: broadcasting and seed drill. The process of broadcasting involves the scattering of seeds by land on a level field, but it is scattered manually. They are not evenly distributed and lie close to the surface. Another disadvantage is that it requires more time. Seed drill. Seeds can also be sown by a seed drill. It is a funnel-shaped ball connected to a series of long tubes that have narrow holes. It is connected to a plow that releases the seeds gradually. As the plow furrows, the land gets covered by the seeds. Compared to broadcasting, this method is less time consuming and also saves labor. Let us now know about the third agricultural process, which is manures and fertilizers. सबसे पहले हम लोग जान लेते हैं what is the difference between manures and fertilizers. Manure is an organic substance that is derived from animal waste and plant residue. Manure is rich in organic nutrients, but nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium is absent. They are bulky and difficult to transport. They are not very useful in removing specific nutrient deficiencies. They increase the water holding capacity of soil. Manure is not soluble in water, so they are absorbed by plant slowly. Fertilizers. They are inorganic substances prepared in factories. Fertilizers are rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. They are less bulky and so can be easily transported. Overuse of fertilizers can make the soil less fertile. Since fertilizer dissolves in water readily, they are quickly absorbed by plants. Now let us know about the different techniques for improving the soil quality. Farmers practice different methods to improve soil quality. A simple method to leave the land without farming for a few seasons. Nutrients get replenished in the soil by the decomposition of dead animals and plants by the microbes. This method of replenishing nutrients of soil is called field fallow. Another method of replenishing the nutrients is through crop rotation, which involves growing of two or more crops or alternatively on the same land in sequenced seasons. For example, after growing wheat, farmers grow a crop of legume, which is peas, grams, groundnuts, etc. These leguminous plants have nitrogen-fixing bacteria called rhizobium, which convert atmospheric nitrogen into compounds that can be used by plants. Plants in turn provide shelter to the bacteria. This is an example of symbiotic relationship. अब हम लोग जान लेते हैं इरिगेशन के बारे में. There is no life without water. All living beings need water to survive. A good crop yield requires the availability of the right amount of water. For proper growth and development of seeds and plants, water is very essential. Plant roots absorb water, minerals, and fertilizers. Groundwater of seeds cannot take place. So without seeds, fields have to be watered on a regular basis. Now let us know about the different ways of irrigation. Traditional methods. The supply of water to agricultural fields at regular intervals is known as irrigation. Rainfall, wells, tube wells, canals, ponds, etc. are a few sources of water for irrigation. Sprinkler system. Sprinkler system is useful for uneven land and in the sandy regions. Perpendicular pipes have rotating nozzles on top, which are joined to the main pipeline at regular intervals when water is allowed to flow through the main pipe under pressure with the help of a pump. Drip system. In this system, water is allowed to fall drop by drop just at the position of the roots. It is suitable for watering fruits, plants, gardens and trees. It is an excellent method for water-scarce regions because there is no wastage of water at all. Now let us know about protection from weeds. Undesirable plants which grow along with crops are called weeds. Foxtail grass, paranthemum and river plantain are a few examples of weeds. The removal of weeds is necessary as they adversely affect plant growth. The removal of weeds is called weeding. There are many ways to remove weeds and control their growth. This can be done manually by hand using a trowel or a khurpa or by harrow. This can also be removed chemically by using dichlorophenoxyacetic acid and methylchlorophenoxyacetic acid. Weeds can also be removed by growing plants such as sunwater and soya bean among the plants. These plants release toxic substance into the soil which inhibits the growth of weeds. Similarly, protection from pests and disease is also necessary. Every year a variety of insects such as termites and rodents like rabbits damage many crops. They are also attacked by bacteria and fungi which reduce the growth yield. Pesticides and chemical substances are used for controlling and destroying pests. There are two types, insecticides and rodenticides. Insecticides are used for killing insects like malathion, benzene, hexachloride or gamaxine and DDT are some examples of insecticides. Rodenticides are used for killing rodents. Warfarin and zinc phosphate are some examples of rodenticides. Fungicides are similarly used for destroying fungi. Many copper salts and sulfate salts are used for this purpose. Even though these pesticides kill the pest very quickly, but they may also affect the wildlife in the area. Continuous use of pesticides can use to the ability of resistance among pests. Harvesting, threshing and winnowing. Cutting of crop after it is mature is called harvesting. Crops are pulled out or cut closer to the ground. In India, harvesting is either done manually or by a machine known as a harvester. The grain seeds need to be separated from chaff. This process is known as threshing. It is carried out with the help of a machine called a combine. Farmers with small holdings of land do the separation of grain and chaff by the process of winnowing. The period of harvest is of great joy and happiness in all parts of the country. They are celebrated by different festivals such as Pongal, Bihu, Makar Sankranti, etc. Now let us come to the last but not the least agricultural practice, which is storage. The harvested crops need to be stored properly so that they stay from insects, moisture and rodents. Before storing the grains, they are dried properly in sun to reduce the moisture content. Farmers store grain in jute bags or metallic bins with dried neem leaves. The storage of grains on a large scale in some places is done in granaries or silos. The Government of India has specific agencies like the Food Corporation of India, which buys grains from farmers on a large scale and stores it in godowns. To increase the crop yield, green revolutions was started in India under the guidance of Professor Mr. Swaminathan. Under this program, high-yielding varieties of wheat and rice were planted in the fields of poor farmers. The Green Revolution proved to be a great chain of events in India. Now let us know about animal husbandry. What is animal husbandry? Animal husbandry is the practice of raising and breeding domestic animals. Animals that give us milk are called dairy animals. The practice of keeping and breeding animals for milk is termed as dairy farming. We get milk, eggs, meat, etc. from animals which are rich sources of protein. The animals which provide us with food are mainly of two types: milk animals and milk and egg yielding animals. Fish is an important source of animal. Many people living in coastal areas consume fish as a major part of their diet. The breeding of fish on a large scale is known as pisciculture. The rearing of honeybees on a large scale is known as apiculture. A new concept of integrated farming has been started, in which dairy and poultry farming is combined with pisciculture so that the waste product of the farmer can be used to feed fish. Now let us know about the nitrogen cycle. What is the nitrogen cycle? Nitrogen is one of the most abundant elements in our atmosphere, comprising of about 78%. It is found in a variety of chemical compounds essential for life on Earth. Since nitrogen is present in gaseous form, it cannot be used by different living organisms in this form. So the atmospheric nitrogen gets converted into the usual form by some organisms so that plants and other organisms can use it for various purposes. The process by which atmospheric nitrogen is fixed so that it can be used by plants and animals and then returned to the atmosphere is known as the nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle involves 5 main processes: nitrogen fixation, assimilation, ammonification, nitrification, and denitrification. Nitrogen fixation is a process of fixing atmospheric nitrogen into inorganic nitrogen compounds by macroorganisms such as rhizobium bacteria, which are present in the roots of plants such as beans and other leguminous plants. This atmospheric nitrogen is absorbed by these bacteria and then they convert into other forms so that it can be used by plants. Lightning, volcanic eruptions, and forest fires also help in converting atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia. High temperatures due to lightning are responsible for the reaction between nitrogen and oxygen, which produces nitrogen oxides as the final product. This is called atmospheric nitrogen fixation. When these oxides come in contact with rainwater, dilute nitric acid is produced, which reacts with nitrogen to form nitrates. Nitrates are also formed by nitrifying bacteria such as Nitrobacter. Nitrogen assimilation is the roots of plants absorb the fixed nitrogen, which is converted into the OX proteins in the plant body. This process is known as nitrogen assimilation. Ammonification. When plants and animals die and decompose, organic nutrients get converted into ammonia. This decomposition is done by microbes that act on the dead matter and get converted the proteins into ammonia. Nitrification. Ammonia produced during the decomposition of dead organism is converted into nitrates in the soil with the help of nitrifying bacteria. Denitrification bacteria act on decaying plants and animals in the soil and release nitrogen gas into the atmosphere. This way, nitrogen returns to the atmosphere, which completes the nitrogen cycle. With this, our chapter is complete. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please press the like button and subscribe to our channel Knowledge Nest.